history. Aftermath of an earthquake. A devastating earthquake occurred in the summer of 1990 in East Kazakhstan, almost a year after another one in Spitak. Construction workers from Kazakhstan went to Spitak to provide assistance, working non-stop to repair the damage. Tents, yurts and medicines were sent to the devastated region. Doctors, including Kazakhstani doctors, held surgeries in tents in Leninakan and disinfected the area to prevent the spread of disease. The earthquake in eastern Kazakhstan caused great damage, but its victims couldn't hope for much support from the government of the Soviet Union. Nursultan Nazarbayev, at that time head of the Republic's government, immediately visited the site. He toured affected villages, visited the parents of a child who had died in the earthquake, and expressed his condolences. Tarbagatay, Zaisan and Kurshim districts of East Kazakhstan Oblast and Aksaut and Kokpetu districts of Semipalatinsk Oblast were the worst affected. The Republic started restoration work. All the regions of Kazakhstan were engaged in rebuilding the villages. After his election as president, Nazarbayev paid particular attention to the construction of houses and community buildings in the eastern region. The new head of government, Sergei Tereshenko, visited the site of the tragedy in March 1992 and inspected the restoration work. In the settlement of Dayir alone, 680 houses had been destroyed. According to records from March 1992, only 130 of them had been rebuilt. Karaganda Oblast had promised to build 554 new houses. However, 3,500 people had been living in yurts and temporary shelters for 1.5 years. This situation was repeated in over 100 villages. Jaksybay Bazilbaev, who worked on the construction of the underground in Almaty, was among those Almaty city staff detailed for restoration work in East Kazakhstan. Construction workers travelled quickly to the afflicted region. They lived and worked in the Tarbagatay region of eastern Kazakhstan for 2 years. It was good to see how new settlements grew up to replace the destroyed villages, Jaksybay Bazilbaev says. 99% of the residents of Tarbagatay are Kazakhs. The situation in Zaisan and Kurshim was also not good. The houses were derelict, but nobody in Soviet times had paid any attention. After the Soviet Union collapsed, the victims of the Zaisan earthquake started receiving humanitarian aid. In March 1992, a Kazakh-American joint venture called Senin delivered 1.5 tons of medicines from the United States as part of an aid program. $120 million were assigned to build and equip schools in the affected region. It was very difficult to transport and deliver construction materials, Jaksybay Bazilbaev remembers. Roads had been destroyed, and some villages didn't even have roads. It was very hot in summer and freezing in winter, with temperatures below 40 degrees. There were no airports in the regional centres. AN-24 and Yak-40 planes landed and took off from dirt airstrips. Jaksybay Bazilbaev remembers once pushing a plane to get the engine started. The plane couldn't start. It sounds funny, but it really happened. The pilot asked us to push the plane, and everyone did. Young people and all, we got off the plane and started pushing. The engine started, and we got quickly in again, and off we flew. Soon, the restoration work in East Kazakhstan was completed.